Do you want to learn effective ways to build relationships, generate sales, and grow your business from successful entrepreneurs, startups, and CEOs without listening to a long interview? If so, you've come to the right place. Gresham Harkless values your time and is ready to share with you precisely the information you're in search of. This is the IAM265 podcast.
Hello. This is Gresh from the IAM265 podcast, and I have a special guest on the show today. I have Liz Brown of BCKG. BCKG, and I can make sure I got that right.
You got it right.
Awesome. Well, Liz, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you. Awesome to be here.
No problem. And what I want to do is just read a little bit more about BCKG so you can hear about all the awesome things that they're doing. And BCKG is an agency focused on design thinking, innovation, and technology. They work with their partners from concept to creation of innovative ecosystems, digital solutions, and brand experiences. And Liz, I appreciate your time. Could you tell us a little bit more about what I call like your CEO story and what led you to start your business?
Oh, man. So it's funny because that was a question on the panel we had earlier, and my story is kind of all over the place. I think the most immediate thing that happened was I lost my job, and I didn't know what to do because no one would hire me. At that point, I was overqualified. I had 2 master's degrees, and being a woman of color, being overeducated doesn't really help you very much in general, but it really didn't help me because people didn't understand how to connect and align with my experience, my background, and they just couldn't see it when they saw me.
Right.
So I was looking at internships, apprenticeships. I was working as an urban planner, and I got furloughed.
Oh, no.
And I had already started a second master's in design and tech, and I was already doing coding as a side gig for years. Like, I've been coding since I was 15 years old.
Oh, nice.
And it was just a fun thing for me. I didn't look at it as a career. And I went on to study other things, and I wanted to teach other people how to code and how to do design.
Right.
So I did that master's, and then I lost my job in the middle of it. And I was like, well, now I can't do that programming I wanted to do at this organization. I'm gonna have to take it somewhere else.
Right.
But there wasn't really anywhere else for me to go because I wasn't from Philadelphia, and I just had moved there like within that past couple of years. So I ended up just kind of looking for jobs. No one would give me anything. And I was like, well, I guess I got to just lean back on like this freelance stuff. I was doing gigs off of Craigslist.
Right.
And just paying my bills. You know, it was pretty okay, but I was missing out on bigger opportunities because I didn't have a team. And I met my co-founder through Civic Hacking, which is also a great match for somebody with tech and urban planning background.
Okay. It was Civic Match, kind of like, what do they have, those startup founder like weekends where you kind of do work on projects like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like Startup Weekend, but really the focus is bringing together designers, technologists, or just business people and pitching ideas and building them within like 24 hours or 48 hours competition.
Nice.
So we were building mobile apps and web apps together. And through that, me and my co-founder built a friendship, and we were just like, well, we like building stuff together, so why don't we just like work together, you know?
Right, exactly. Just start a company.
Let's start a business together. And then I stopped looking for jobs, and we just launched our own company.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's funny. I've been laid off myself, and I know it's a super difficult time, and then trying to find the right position when sometimes that position doesn't even exist, so you end up having to kind of create your own thing yourself.
Exactly. And that's the crazy thing is it's taken me now, because I think I had my previous company for about 5 years, and we split last year, but I realized that I was feeling stifled in that position because it fit my expertise, but it didn't fit what I personally wanted to do. And so I was like, well, I want to continue to grow, and I want to continue to use urban planning and tech, and not just tech, because we were doing software development and design thinking on it. Like, that was it, just UX, design thinking, and software, just one app after another.
Right.
And it didn't feel like I was really utilizing my skills in like revitalizing cities is what I specialized in grad school. So I was like, I want to like build ecosystems. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, man, like we need somebody with an urban planning background that has a technology background. It's like the city wasn't at that point when
you were ahead of the curve.
Graduated. Yeah, I was way ahead of the curve, which is it was very unfortunate, but I gained so much. And now I have a portfolio where no one else has that.
Yeah.
So even if there's another urban planner technologist that comes out like of school, they still don't have the experience that I have with building startups and accelerators and all the stuff that I do now.
Exactly. And I heard you say the word ecosystem a lot. I know when we were offline, you talked about ecosystem. Could you tell us a little bit more about what exactly that is and how you're doing that with BCKG?
I know, it's like you know what it is? It's our initials. So like it's our last name initials.
Okay.
It's Brown Canals King Group.
Okay.
And it sounds like a law firm, so we were like, we couldn't come up with a name, so we wanted something simple.
Yeah.
But ecosystem building to me is something that I was already doing when I was doing urban planning, and something I continued to do in my work as a development company before, because we did a lot of community events.
Right.
And what we did was we wanted to see, what does the community need our help with, and how can we build those solutions, because we were also civic hackers. So we're kind of continuing that journey now, where my experience working in nonprofits, the city of Philadelphia, being an urban planner and being a technologist, I'm trying to kind of pull all of it together, because there's a lot of fractured ecosystems in every city.
Right.
Whereas people who work in nonprofits don't know technologists, but they could use their services and support.
Right.
And vice versa for like all of the other different ecosystems. And a lot of people I'm taking a step back from the technology ecosystem and focusing on just tech this, tech company that, and moving towards innovation ecosystems, which is more inclusive of everything, right?
Yeah.
Like look at STEM education, including the arts and creative and design. Like we all need each other.
Yeah.
So my goal is, because I'm kind of a jack of all trades type of person, and I do still go to events in all these different areas, I'm trying to pull that network together. I'm trying to say, hey, I know a nonprofit that could help you get funding for your design or tech startup. Or hey, nonprofit, I know a developer that can help you build that app that would help your neighborhood out.
Right.
So it's really about bridging the different pieces to build one cohesive ecosystem, rather than like a bunch of different ones that just have no idea what's going on, but they live in the same city. And it's another reason why I'm down here in DC, because I think that we need to build more bridges between the cities that are within the same, like the Northeast region or the East Coast. And I do a lot of traveling like internationally. So my next thing is trying to build out an international accelerator program and see how can I bridge that back to Philly. How can I help bring more companies there and help more companies from Philly branch out internationally as well?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And there was a book, I think it's by Michael Gladwell, but he talked about the connector. And it kind of sounds like that's exactly what you're talking about. That's your personality. There's somebody that knows everybody, and you just go to them and say, hey, can I have X, Y, and Z? And you know that, but you're doing that within that ecosystem framework, it sounds like.
Yes. I want to help other people jump through less hoops than I've had to. And the only way to do that is to build a network and know what opportunities exist. And if I'm not out there telling people, they'll have no idea, because a lot of people don't know what they don't know. Exactly.
Especially when you're starting a company, there's so many different things anyways, you get overwhelmed. But when you're looking for something, you don't even realize the opportunities that are really out there at your disposal. So it's great to hear that you're doing that. So I wanted to ask you for what I call like your secret sauce. And this might be what you just touched on, but what do you feel kind of sets you or your organization apart and makes you guys unique?
I think for me personally, my last organization, WebJunto, we won Best Tech Workplace for Diversity in Philadelphia. We beat Comcast in their own city.
Congratulations.
On a community vote, which is insane, right? So when I think of that, a lot of people in the past have asked me that same question in context of that, like what made me different in that situation, is that I'm a multi-ethnic, multiracial, gay woman. So I have a lot of different perspectives just in that.
Than the norm.
And so I think it's just kind of built into my persona that anything I do, I'm always going to be looking out for other people, because I can relate to so many different types of people. And I've been that other person so many times. So now moving into this new company, BCKG, and what I do there, that's still my same focus. Like one of my co-founders is a Black male, the other one is a Peruvian male. So, I mean, between the three of us, it's not a normal, typical thing that people would think of when they think of digital solutions and tech and innovation. Like we're out here to cause a scene, and we're out here to show that we exist and we can really make dope shit. Like we make dope shit is like our tagline that we have, because we're just like, you know what, let's just be bold. Like, just do it.
Exactly. And that's how you start to see change and start to make true innovation, is that you just gotta make dope shit from time to time. There you go. Yeah. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And this might be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but it's something that makes you more effective and efficient.
So I'm a very creative person, and I'm kind of like a creative mess. It's kind of like that mad scientist professor that you have that has like crap all over their desk. Like that's always been how I've been. But I was in the military. I was in the Air Force when I was younger. So it helped me. Thank you. It helped me to be more organized. It helped me to realize that I needed structure in my life. And I think a lot of other creative people who become CEOs, or maybe they don't even see themselves becoming a CEO because they're creative and they're kind of all over the place. But you can get your stuff together if you just learn how to organize. So my biggest hack is learning how to be organized and really just scheduling things out. I go to bed every night between 9 and 10. I wake up every morning between 5 and 6. And it took me years to get to that point. But it's also another thing I learned in the military. You go to bed early, you wake up early, and you get so much more stuff done when you give yourself that time by yourself. Nice and early. I knock out a lot of work before I have interruptions, and I used to be like a night owl type person. But what I realized is like the morning is the new night for me as an older person. Right.
Exactly. No, that makes sense. I can relate to that, guys. I can see myself sometimes as a creative mess, as you say, because I feel like you have that creativity. But I also started to see that when you look at businesses, you look at organizations, there's a lot of structure within that. And sometimes when you have that structure or those schedules, it allows you to be even more creative because you don't have to worry about stuff.
And you have the time. So that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is for me. Because I give myself all that extra time by getting stuff done, I then can have way more time to be my creative self and just get all that energy out. And a lot of people will say like, oh, Liz is an idea person. She has a lot of ideas until she doesn't. And it's like, yeah, like the time when I don't is when my stuff's not organized and I've lost time, or someone's pulled me to a different direction and messed up my flow.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I love it. And so now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is a word of wisdom or a piece of advice. And sometimes I'll say, if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
I would tell myself that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help because if you don't ask, you won't receive. And that's one of the biggest things that I see people making a mistake on, is they wait too long to ask for help or say what you are trying to achieve. So when I wanted to start doing public speaking, I just started throwing it out there like, yeah, I really want to do public speaking. And then guess what? I started getting invited to do public speaking. So until people know what you're trying to achieve or you're trying to do with your business, no one can help you. No one can help you with that advice. I do coffee dates all the time. Why? Because people ask for them. And if you don't ask, you ain't gonna get it.
Yep, you never get what you don't ask for. So I definitely agree with that. And now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show and looking at CEO entrepreneurship and business and seeing exactly what that is and what that looks like. So what does being a CEO mean to you?
Being a CEO to me means it's all about leadership. It's all about being able to see the big picture. And I personally am a very high touch person when it comes to my team. I think it's important to let people know that you're accessible and you're willing to sit down and learn what other people in your business are doing and help them be their best selves too. It's not about me, because I wouldn't be where I am without my team behind me and the community behind me. So I make a lot of time to listen, be an active listener, and work with other people. I feel like anyone who wants to call themselves a CEO that doesn't care about the people who put them in that position, then like, I don't know what they're doing with their life. Like, it's like, you have to be thankful.
Yeah, exactly. You got to realize that wherever you're at, there's people that help pave that way, team members, other people, mentors, whatever. So it's important to kind of understand that. So Liz, I appreciate your time. I wanted to see and ask you a little bit more. I know we're connecting at PurpleCon. How did the event go? How did the panel go?
The panel was awesome. We opened up the day. It was really fun, insightful. I'm also pretty new to the VC community, so it was interesting to hear other people working in venture capital and what their perspectives are. I really enjoyed that. And also, I love the color purple, which I didn't know there were so many women who liked the color purple.
Yeah, I heard that in the intro yesterday.
I was like, that is so crazy, because she said, is that your favorite? How many people is it your favorite color? Purple's always been my favorite color, but I've never thought of it as like a woman's favorite color.
Yeah, it's like a unity thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was interesting.
There you go. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate your time again. For people that want to reach out to you and connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that? Best way to reach me is Twitter or Instagram at Liz Brown Says. Awesome. We'll have those links in the show notes as well. So thank you, Liz. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you for listening to the I Am CEO podcast powered by Blue 16 Media. Tune in next time and visit us at IAM265.co. I Am CEO is not just a phrase, it's a community. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. Grab CEO gear at www.ceogear.co. This has been the I Am CEO podcast with Gresham Harkless. Thank you for listening.